Aper game a ha roing feiscar yn dŵr. Son I hier dŵr ddief ha game the Rangers agus Celtic attackers y sio ag parke Ibrox. Dyn an tor y crocwch na da dasgwp y sio cynnychwch smash yn fiach gwffydd eisiau colding bio e BBC Alba. Wel, mae'r ystrych a Rangers a cleich gan y comen yn alt ag parke Broadway. Ac o diw, mae'r hwrt mi yn sio ag parke Ibrox. Let's get the chael Rangers da fwyng yn ei partic ddysl iddo jedd eich ddysg gai biad. Son, sy'n eich hwnd am yn gwrt yn sio yn diw yn ei Celtic. Agus gymi orsnach cha fi Luke Lenteng ag skipper Celtic o bring na parke. Bring eisiau mi iengsyt agus a hwlwr o deal o cocheiltyd eisiau game sio. Bio, tron y program. Hallo, faltjar of a chart and good BBC Alpa. Farvel sing and Jew, Mara me, ag parke Ibrox. Aper game a high father and Jew. Rangers a clicker Celtic. Agus calling a Jew ha Emma Hunter. Emma, thanks so much for being with us here on BBC Alpha. What a game we have in prospect here at Ibrox Stadium. Rangers going up against Celtic. But before we talk about these two sides, we have to talk about the news that broke yesterday morning. There will be no Celtic fans here today. Risk supporters, according to both statements from both sides. We don't know much more than that, but very disappointed to see that here in the women's game.
Yeah, you're right. Disappointing is probably the key word. I think we've done a lot in the women's game recently. We're improving everything on the pitch, and for us as involved in the women's game, we want to see as many people coming here to enjoy what could be a great game of football, and I'm sure it will be a great game of football. It's an opportunity for new fan bases as well to come and enjoy this. It's a family-friendly atmosphere as well, so we want to tap into the men's game. Of course we do. We want fans to come along and start to enjoy the women's game as well. So for me, it's really important that we really look at this and see how we can make it possible to get as many people here at the games as possible, and then there's no barriers.
And on a weekend as well, where we saw at the Emirates Stadium yesterday, over 60,000 fans at Arsenal against Manchester United in the WSL, a WSL League record as well. Just even more disappointing that as well. And like you're saying, you want to tap into the men's side, but you don't want to take the problems into the women's game.
Yeah, 100%. And I think everyone who's involved in the women's game know that it's a different atmosphere. We try and mix the fan base. I think yesterday was a great example about how far in England it's come, and they're pushing the boundaries. And for us in Scotland, it's something we want to try and achieve together, and we've been trying to do that for such a long time. So yeah, let's see if we can get this sorted, and let's talk about the football. And it's a shame that we're talking about this before we even talk about the football. So for me, it's about the football today. So yeah.
Well, let's focus on the football now. We can have a look at the league table to remind everyone at home how it's looking at the moment. Rangers in first place, Celtic in second. Rangers do have a 4-point advantage over their opponents today, but the title won't be decided today, but this game could go a long way in deciding who lifts it come May.
Yeah, of course, and I think both managers will probably take the pressure off the players, and telling the media as well there's a lot of games to go, and obviously the split they'll play each other, which will have a big bearing. But for me, Rangers could go 7 points clear before that split, and a lot of momentum with them as well, being unbeaten as well, and that they carry on that, so it'll be difficult to catch them. And for me, Celtic need to try and bridge that gap. Today's a great opportunity. So as much as there's both managers saying there's no pressure, for me I think there is a bit of pressure in there, even just to fight for that second place spot as well, with Glasgow City right up behind them. So yeah.
Let's hear from the managers now. Wel, began up draaien hoe darniach adish. Alec Henley Fakel e the Lena Sadiku Akadosha Klingishing for Joe Potter.
Joe, a slight blip last week, which will probably serve as a timely reminder that the work is not done yet this season, and a great game to bounce back from.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if we was going to have a little blip, it couldn't have come at a better time for us, really. Just goes to show that you can't really take your eye off the prize. You've got to make sure you're on it week in, week out, because coming towards the back end of the season, it's tough games week in, week out. So it means that we've hit the training ground hard this week. We've doubled down and made sure that we're keeping our standards high, and we're keeping our consistency there, and hoping to come into this game in good form.
And here at Ibrox, the prize at the end of the day is another 3 points, a chance to go potentially 7 points clear at the top, which would be a big statement.
It would, and as I keep saying, that these games are the tough ones. These are the ones that we want to play in. It'd be great to be 7 points clear. We've got a good gap right now. We've earned that gap. We want to keep it. So, we need to make sure that we're on it today, and hopefully continue that gap coming in the game.
Do you expect a different Celtic side from the one you played a few weeks ago in the Cup?
Yeah, I do. I think that they've changed a few things in previous weeks. It looks like they're tinkering around trying to find their best 11 and trying to find their best way of playing. So, you know, it again, as I said, when we played them their first week of their new manager coming in, that can play into our hands sometimes, because it means that we just concentrate on ourselves. We know their strengths and we know the individuals that they've got that can hurt us, but we also are keen to work on their weaknesses as well, and seeing areas that we can hurt them going the other way.
Elena, a few weeks on from the first game against Rangers, how different a Celtic side can we expect to see today?
I would say more confident, more ready, and more prepared.
It's a real chance to close the gap, isn't it? A win today closes the gap to 1 point, and we have a potential league race on again.
I think it's still a league race. It's many games left, but obviously, yes, the gap will be closer. But not only about the point, we really want to show that we're a team that is competing in the league for real.
What changes have you seen since that first game in the Cup a few weeks ago in your side?
More confident players, a togetherness in the team right now that I feel it has been showing in the performance the last games. So I feel like we're in a good step of just growing as a team.
No fans here today for Celtic, obviously. How much of a disadvantage will that be to Celtic? Is that something you can turn into a positive?
Everything in life that happens, you can either choose to make it as a negative thing or a positive thing, and we're going to choose the positive thing today.
Siad maha beach na manager in hoiseach in the game vote a hasho at the Rangers agus Celtic. Give you beach a varach borneoliche Emma Hunter the drasta. Emma, Rangers have had the upper hand in this fixture this season. They've won 3 out of 3. What do Celtic need to do today to overturn that?
I think they need to come out like Celtic usually do. First of all, I think they always come out with the sort of pride that they can go and win the game. I think they have to be up for it and they have to battle, and I think that's a non-negotiable, and you'll get that. But I also think that they need to try and nullify Rangers' threat. Rangers have got like good attacking players, obviously, so if they can defend really well and actually try and catch them on a counter, with Celtic equally having pace up top and, you know, people that can finish up there as well. So for me, it's about defending really well and creating good opportunities, and it'll be probably a couple of chances that you might get. Who's going to be the team that takes them? But I'm expecting a close game. You always get that. So yeah, hopefully an exciting game as well today at Ibrox.
Goals from both sides, attacking teams.
Yeah, I think they always, even at set plays, both teams are a huge threat, so I definitely see goals, but I think it'll obviously just be 1 or 2 in it. I'm probably going to go for Rangers just to pip it for me. I think Joe's got a certain style of play. I think Rangers move the ball really well, and I think for me, Celtic are just again, like Joe said in the interview, they're tweaking things and seeing who their best 11 are, different formations, so I'm not quite sure if they're full flowing yet under Elena. So for me, just going for Rangers, but anything can happen in this fixture.
Totally, absolutely. Well, thank you for now, Emma. Hear from Emma, of course, throughout the game in commentary. Achadrasta, Hastings, Gurnia Hadish is on our game, Facegood and Jew. Rangers, a dull now Celtic, and Cunchady, Alec O'Henley.
Kia tan gyfeillio, agus wrwch ymwra, cwmpol cosyn y halapa, if you want to do the shun, agus la echtri a leila sio ac Ibrox, y chia turus a ha, game darba môr glasgo the fi sio, ac Ibrox, if you want to do the zien Maxwell a shun, the two vichele, feder sy da skipper hyn ymach, y cera turus a Rangers eith clwchio sio, fo chaiat go she professionte, Agus am cyn achol gyniw chymor dys i gamesa, tŵa fas y crochwyd, mar ysasht. Agus diolch na ceir pwingen i'r da skipper ac tosach a iem, gwyd y gyfernsyn, eddi cwsiach ma gleis Rangers, agus dŵn yw cwtidach un ma hi gyla di Celtic. Ach, a gw as na siŵl ac Jane Ross is Rangers y gerst y sŵl y dŵ, sy'n cemic im na gedig. Agus a pemi rwtig yn môr arach ag Son het laat uit en je gloos het dasje duivelen. Joe Potter, Kiri ver nog maar, Kiri leert dat je maar zo niet. En je show ik heb een skippy en zo'n game zo Joe. Daar aardig als de skipper Rangers van een skipper de gasstaping genoeg partic tussel is de jede jaar in zich hij. Broken he, er is Rio Hardy, het Chile gesteld. Me en je kan like, er is zeer een institution van de Bengi. Bengi er ook een loom, jede Sian o'ch lychyt ad ysyn, na mysg Megan Cunningham, a di esit ag partic tysl a chad ash, a di esit eicinach, y salia gyfil Victoria Essen haas dymach. is on Celtic jidach an nŵn narachw van a skipper hansje canoe hebs in the jidach hechkin sa chai and a Chloe Craig id ag le unia na just Sydney Cummings a isio cwmal a hansje ha tansje a hulige de sin a nŵn skipper er ein chamasi game sin agus mar a chiisiv vengi achgus an gemanas falling in le padach aada van a sin. Reach that can you do Alex Shepherd, fine taich in a clear bo Nathan Dean, agus Evan Morgan, agus the care of Officer Gary Train. Game Morris on Elena Sadiku, here game Eichkistov in Mias on a Rangers of an a Gookber League. Sket the back Kelt and a Hakun either high at the tree kaga, some chicken for Magyedig lip finish for Rio Hardy. You should doch as Gefanski Yarachig. Skipper Eichkistov. That skipper the me and the path you call the rated it. Nicola Doherty, I guess Kelly Clark. Nicky Doherty, the Henjemachu as a squad. I call up it. And the good clicker than Rangers down the squad and haul up on the Chemican and the Cook Befinitar. I guess the path you call it. Mirvillach Marisage, Luchtach, Nyonya Hound at the 2 Villa. In the path, Emma Hunter called them with the Spiddish, and Emma, always with these games, mentality is very important.
Yeah, of course, it's a fixture where, you know, you've got to be brave, you've got to, you know, step up and try and get that victory. So for me, yeah, it's all about a lot to do with mentality. It's in a big stadium, obviously still a lot of fans here, and that's good to see as well. So yeah, both teams will be really, really up for this, so I'm expecting a frantic start, to be honest, and both teams getting at each other.
Rangers Jishal is on Toshach Jane Ross to the Vow, I guess the Gerkel like Celtic, Jidach a Pristug, I guess Sashin Jishal is on Toshach. Kelsey Doherty asking fine at Ash. It in the push, Jachkisha. Bowl in the spot. Jishal is on Toshach, I guess Machling, Jane Ross, Kahudash Chelsea Cornets. Cathy Hill, as you get through that you cool like Rangers, Marisage through that you cool Kuchuk, Celtic, go through the V. Fiach and Jefferut and at you cool, like Sula Mikale, Sochtrachule, through, I guess, shot here, Yeaching guys, and Rachel Rowe, Gummerach at the foul. I guess Tarsing of Oxa, I guess Kelsey Doherty, Bulia Falav, Hatudi, Bulach Macha, Brogan Hay, Fiach and the Kuma Pelway, Dave Halsa Hast, Ike Brogan Hay. Ball the Dish in Tarsing, I guess drops Kelsey Doherty. Nice Kinchich. And as a goalkeeper, Emma, it's always good to get a touch, although early in the game, although that was a bit frantic with that cross ball from Rachel Rowe.
Yeah, of course, she won't be wanting to touch the ball that early in the game, I don't think, but yeah, she dealt with it. I think Rachel Rowe just finding pockets of space in the wide area there, and yeah, some good deliveries, and yeah, Celtic just need to manage this pressure now.
Marahula toe, voor een dasher. Rangers Lishanimpi. Oh, Stu Valker, Jane Ross! Oh, it's McConaughey weer voor de Sheikh. A great ball in, Emma, and Jane Ross, the form she's in, you're expecting her to tuck that away.
Yeah, usually Jane just needs that 1 or 2 chances and she'll usually take them, but yeah, a great cross. I'm surprised how much time and space she had in the box there as well, just to take it down and have a shot at goal. So Celtic just need to get a little bit tighter, especially in that areas.
Kelly Clark actually does get across, but it's surprising how much Emma Hayes, Caitlin Hayes misjudged that ball coming over from Brogan Hay.
Yeah, and again, it's probably just down to a little bit of nerves as well, and they're just needing time to settle into the game and try and get a hold of the ball and a little bit of possession to settle them down.
Skipper of Rangers, Nicola Doherty to Suezki Kelmel in the pathke, and Leferski as a rat in the backisha. Missy Arnott. Ash Gometag. Cathy Hill, the Bowlar to the ish, I guess. And clearly that's something Rangers feel is going to work for them today, that long ball trying to bisect the centre backs.
Yeah, I think as well when you've got 2 players like, you know, Ross and Hardy up top. You want to get the balls into those areas. It'll be a 3v2 in there at times. So, yeah, and Rangers will want to put them under pressure early on in this game and just put their stamp on it. So they're certainly doing that in the opening exchanges.
Liv McLaughlin. Here to a Gechkische, Miana Pathke, Liana Gaverna, Kirsty McLean, at ankle. Kirsty McLean has the Machas, Skipper Rangers Kuchuk. Mittag, Tarsing, Lena Gian, got Doherty, Soon, Ferrishin, Chayaki, the Humalasday. McLaughlin Kair is a Vian, Dalash, van de Duchuk, Mittag. Roemek McLaughlin. Kelma Hokal, pass her. Hey. De garment we moet broken he Garrigus steek vegen die oppergeter een is McLaughlin de oppriction Natalie Ross dash doing is Celtics Monglu Kuchuk gemaakt doing Celtic de boek te dash trace game agus shot to the ish Rio Hardy het al gaan line ka Garrigus dash agus Chloe Craig is the rotation Is die is Natalie Ross game is Chile agus vegen de skiplige haast gaan je laten de bouwlijn mag gesaveltjach agus Miguel Mongu Edash McLaughlin Dit is goed in je hulig het Jenna 5 voor Rangers de League Celtic is een is toch veel maar Chile Edash Celtic de bouw de Vinnik Edash He's Edash Doherty. As you said, Emma, Celtic need to settle on the ball. There's been incessant pressure from kick-up from Rangers, and it almost looks like we're waiting for the inevitable to happen for Rangers to score.
Yeah, and they managed to win the ball again back with a high press, and they're sustaining that attack because they're making sure that when Celtic win the ball back, that transition is that they counter-press them really quickly. They're being really aggressive and on the front foot, and Celtic are just really finding it difficult to find any opportunities or space to build out.
Fersky counters on a Hogany is in a higher ratele. I guess the Rangers took already is I guess hanging tinje puchtig suas in a click at Gianek Celtic. She kill gebeloonjach de val van a goed. Cornet. Marco Cathy Hill. En is het Ashike. All room like Rangers bouwen hoekal van a goed. Mittag Gaskulig Tarsenko Arnott. Doherty en Siki Dash go 5 ahead in de macht go de boxen. En nu is een Chile Dash aan de Gafak. Hill. Hey, Chile stay Shachet Monglu. Pick aan de haringen Dash worden. See what they do the sound to Rangers. Cornet, Gafak or a schoolig Tarsi in de park in Masurinico, Lizzie Arnott, Shin Ferlatol, Shachet de Partido. En is een motion Spanje, Shisa Vasarat. He's all the Marco Amy Gallagher had Kransli Gals en Shach in vergeten. Geen more Yisha Ju Kuchuk. Lachlan took al Nagor en de eerste on Rangers to me aan een pathje. It's interesting, Emma, that Rangers always have time to build from the back, whereas Celtic, when they try and do that, they're immediately pressed by Rangers.
Yeah, I think that's the big difference, is that Celtic are obviously just sitting off a little bit, one maybe going to press and try to stay compact in the middle, whereas I think Rangers have identified a weakness in terms of Celtic's build and pressing really high and aggressively to stop them playing out.
Coras Mias en Nishtja Sedriach, Lena Sadiku, yes. Potter a docha slaven oog gedaan, ja, die is de goede macha Kuchper League. Giet jij met je, ik doe aan je. Haringen die is de asjes in het cornet voor Natasha Flint. Het parach kan je woord bij je kutje goed die hier tuil ze daar crush je. Ik Celtic een nieuw hib, zei je de gek in zijn gaai. McLaughlin, le Paul Troje, prachtig zoes. Nu Jane Ross. Again, Emma, Jane Ross is the out ball, and I don't think this was. It was it's fairly obvious, but the defence came out well. But she did find a lot of space between the defenders again.
Yeah, I think when you probably speak about Rangers and over the last few games, it's maybe that if you were going to criticise anything, it was maybe lots of possession in games, but maybe not creating enough opportunities or taking those opportunities in the final third. So perhaps Joe's worked on forward passes and being slightly more direct in this game to make sure that, you know, they're making Celtic defend really early on in the game, which is probably what they want to do.
Rio Hardy de golamach en duval. Agus Rachel Road Sheila puchtige steed doen en go de volks viechen die was het dan mag en van mij een paadje. We kregen het hansje gereisd dus skip ik Celtic juist juistje van een pingie jacht in zijn gaai. Daar het finishje ze gaan me jeder als goed voor een kutje voor ik gaan halen dat. Rangers viechen de zich heel line shot. McLaughlin mag go Arnott had Torian of our like in Dusach and Lily Hasted Upper Jack shot Corim Guinness to Tarston Jew Vowlashin. His game Natalie Ross, Chinadash, I guess Skiploch. It's the first time Emma we've really seen Lizzie Arnott going to the line and cutting a ball back.
Yeah, I think Lizzie Arnott's been really good recently with Joe coming in. She's shown a lot more confidence. And usually when she does get to the byline, she can deliver really dangerous crosses. So Partido's going to have to manage that.
Was a haze of the issue that gal. Brogan Hay, Fiachan de Praga, let Farabat Tarsing, but Jane Ross. I guess Shachat and Norton. Maria Hardy. Rangers to crock with the Doris, a has at the fair the she here tell. And the Celtic goal living a charmed life there, Emma.
Yeah, again, a delivery into the box. Caitlin Hayes again just maybe struggling to deal with it. And yeah, just coming off the crossbar there. And again, another warning sign for Celtic in terms of that relentless pressure from Rangers.
Here third for Jane Ross, I guess Norton, Rio Hardy, Lecown, Fiachan de Shut. Daar goed, stig aan de lian, ach Shachat de Vancha Tarsing. Gaat tripletje naar Celtic gegaan in je march, Kelly Clark, I guess Caitlin Hayes, Jelike de Snu, Bouillard, daar had hij in de stig aan de Vox de Trasse game. I guess Paul kon dat toch heel erg in, I guess game Chloe Craig, Skiploch. Is middag a dash for Jenna 5. Hill passing a line of Gian, Joe Potter and could mollige fast of a shin. Skulu chluche gaan het doen veel goed Doherty. Cathy Hill tol gain show a dash. O Cornet live-ish. Hey de Vuoski. Is gaan je zin een game na dat ik Monglu via dash Gian en nu Rogan Hay. Check me naar je gloch bij Celtic Osten de Vuge naar Leaps en ik wil dat fijn. Gaan in niet shock en heel gauw. Or shoot Unsi as show Unsi out of the Bo Rangers. Shen Dash Viest for Clark. Ik schouw dat de vier in de jaren wat je goed van ik Elena Sadiku is daar. Gafasig Chimichel is de game kunnen te gaan maken elkaar. En is gewoon naar toe. Jane Ross station die is ja Celtic het afsluit zo. Partido Spanje hockey die is het voor Real Madrid. Vier in zo'n lijn wie is gezet Gallagher Steko Leferski. Vema getacht. Die is Chimichel er en is me hij could really mag ach je weet staat ik zeg. Oké me Gallagher show. Paula Partido Leferski gelukkig dat ik nu ik Celtic le as de finest day is cool lane Gian hij met de bouwlijn niet. Dus een tolchiedig gedochterty Jane Roska goedje gesoes Rio Hardy Clark gronke gedasje stegen en wie. Dus die is Ross. I guess Session Cassan de falla boeipus Karamashok Brogan Hay Bristol Rio Hardy en de Jane Ross te doen willen. Dat Rio Hardy nisje parach gestegen en box Hardy toch in de lijnen. I guess Jew goedje shin van Chloe Craig. Gestaat er hier foul line steg maar jeder geen tarsing. I guess Roar te drops and Lizzie Arnott wat chin steg en Boxevic. Again, it's a self-inflicted mistake from Celtic. It's an unfortunate slip that almost cost them dear.
Yeah, I think so, and I think I like Rio Hardy's move off the ball there, almost creating space for Brogan. I almost thought that Brogan could use that as a decoy and come inside and maybe have a shot herself. But yeah, again, Celtic just need to just calm down and try and keep the ball for a little bit longer and relax and just get a little bit of possession so they can start to feel their way into the game. But yeah, it seems to be a bit frantic for Celtic and just still maybe trying to work out the movement of Rangers and what they should try and do. And there's a lot of talking from the side of the pitch and on the pitch.
Hier Lena Sadiku, hier is Fontje gekeerd, de skipper closer to the earth, thuis het is. Terug pas, kijk weer aan de tripplaats, agus an earth. Rio Hardy, Dol Shechat. But again, Emma, it comes from surrendering possession when you're not under pressure.
Yeah. Again, but it also comes from Rangers working really hard and squeezing people up the game and being brave and actually pressing them really high and then putting them under pressure. And it's something that they've obviously have identified. They've done it in previous fixtures as well, where they've put them under pressure at the back and they've got success from it.
Shen, voor de kast en de drapse. Hij is een kloekje voor je deur. Go Natasha Flint. Mongu, stick go Ross. And clearly this is something Celtic have tried to do under the new coach as well, Emma. Just play the ball out from the back if they can, and all too often it results in possession being given away and the pressure comes back on them.
Yeah, and I think what you've got to try and do when you're playing out the back is not to be predictable. So I think they are at times trying to play the longer pass to try and make Rangers drop slightly, but it's the execution they're just not quite getting right at the moment.
Laferski in the big and room with attacken now. Partido China the cool look has to Laferski het al stegen en ook ze via die passively trying to Ross. Lachlan as the round or Shen in his via die is Lepali shall as Amy Gallagher a fine again. Well, you could see what she intended to do there, Emma. She wasn't trying to put power on this, she was just trying to side-foot it into the corner.
Yeah, it was difficult for her as well. She had pressure from behind. She was almost like reaching out for it, so managed to get a touch, but not enough power on the shot there.
Hier dorp, in de week Celtic Darakic, agus gewoon nog als je niet kastan horen gereden. Carmen geleden de week gelnille. Nitag, natuurlijk Tarsenko Hill, like wil tall room, how lay live ish. Cornet, die is she kind catch of Arnett, die is haar room it heen is partido. She ligger asketaak het Doherty. McLaughlin, die is het voor Aston Villa. Gaat heel legaal, Kimmel en Soes van een goed. Goeprige het heen is Jane Ross. Gaat heel hoe touw. Goed mag ze geen verschillen aan de Goedbe League, bekken echt geen dash. Hey, en Oceanley, Bouwlaard, de eerste drapse, ha Caitlin Hayes. Chilikidish, Chili Akata, Arnett, Partido as a rat. Arnett's keer een paar close dat gaan je kus Shin Fashgar het niet ja Jane was de telection doet ik eens je wat Goshanjas Partido hoe de soe me de Shin. Yes, Fisher Corum to Cathy Hill is Testmiddag. Puchtig so as a hat the goal. Goodishlish, that's go Rachel Rowe, Nish, Ballard, Chinas Divo, Doherty. And Zuadilla Hayes Katie.
You can see that Rangers are playing with intensity, even on set plays and throw-ins. They're going quickly, they're looking for options, and Celtic just aren't able to get organised quick enough to make sure that they nullify the threats.
Dat heb ik fijn de mag ik niet dus had de puchtige stuit. Doin se ook zeg heen heel le bal na siesle drapse. On glue. I guess Amy Gallagher het as geboren dat ook zeg heen I guess Orstanach. Then in corner to say the Kulu, but from a Celtic point of view, Emma, you don't want someone like Amy Gallagher defending almost on the edge of her own penalty box.
No, or like receiving the ball that deep as well, and you can see that, you know, she's trying to drop in to get on the ball, and you maybe want her slightly higher up the pitch, and I think Celtic just needs a little bit better movement in terms of getting on the ball from the back and options.
Na sér a Vashenko Gallagher a burin yen for smachgeta howly kusje the Doherty and the Ballard whippish they'll try it Kelsey Doherty Joe Potter niet of our ear James Munjelish na danken Gulishan de wie sie game macht de gedul de willen goedjag kade game met die is Natalie Ross gefine heen aan de slummen is first nach gedoe die zuurde pas Tidoko Gallagher. Hij is de eerste goedjem sepi uit de Bowler to dash the Rangers. Jane Ross is trying to follow about Nat Loss. Yes, Chloe Craig is skippelig uit je goal. Hayes le Bowler through go Flint. Yes, passed through a gashin. Woep is het al G de gemaakt de vaak. En Sadiku keer in het licht dan je Gally so good, echoing what you were saying, Emma, just trying to settle down and just get a feel for the ball.
Yeah, you can just see her telling the players just calm down. I think, you know, I could see the intention that Tashford was trying to do there, just switching the play, which they'll probably need to do to get a bit of success, but it might just need to come back and then open it up a few passes before that big switch happens.
Got mag gepristje shock at that. Agus Lefersky, well, Shofask. That's always a good out ball for them, Emma. She's a speed merchant, Kit Lefersky, and that looked like a close call there.
Yeah, it was tight, but I think when I initially seen it, I thought it was offside. But yeah, she's got the ability to hold her run. She doesn't actually need to try and go too early because she is really quick. Yeah. But you can see that that's definitely a plan. Kit's always the one that's further up the pitch for that counter-attack when it's on.
Rangers daar dash gaan alleen het hier. Bal kan natuurlijk Tarsenko heel erg de goede steeds zijn voor smaak. Bieg Hay McCunniff Cornet. Dat is Rachel Rowe. Dat is een dashje maar wij toch duur. Heel nog een machine is tegen Newsy. Paul Pristje. De Ashko Rangers. Er is Chloe Craig zo'n aantal jaar. Maar zijn je Rio Hardy gaan we. Deze die is Gudic is partido. Dat Ash agus se kom Russian stoch de Nicola hore. Weet we kar met je wel schachat Noorsen daarnet. Game na sluitige is toch rota. Sadiku Kiri Monglu Nielsen de Fachken. Geborse leeg Rangers zit het. Ons he kutje wiel woep. Sarashak Rangers zit je goed met taak. Ja, en die broken he Jesus twee willen een paakje. Rachel Rowe, me and Pathkin, we've seen Emma, she's been a key figure for Rangers this season. Such a creative player from midfield, always looking to make those late runs into the box. Yeah,
I think she's been great for the Scottish women's game since she's been coming in. I think she's an exciting player. I think when she gets the ball, she always looks to go forward. For me, she's really quick with and without the ball, which I think is really impressive. So when she carries the ball, she can be really dangerous because she's so quick with it as well.
Soorige bal was het van middag het daar van een goal gaat Chiedig go partido. Gallagher is femi go dash get a shot triple chat of Celtic Noorsen. Jane Ross leeg for Hayes the Dolish agus Jane Ross but Helika took al for a lot so he took some se technica gek Celtic. Caitlin Hayes le sulgu van Yemenoi Hibs Jack en Zagai. As soon as je van pink is saast je weer maar groeik een paar muur. Hayes Spinnickson signé. Hardy doe die zoeken bij Kiriet. Chiliaco McLaughlin. Watch it Kumal Shen woepen. Is Pierre Brogan heeft Rachel Rowe. Via de Romy en een de andere boxen. Kom je nog gijzen gaat de visje kunnen go Caitlin Hayes. De vrakken gevallen. Lefersky kegutsch voor middag. Show Gunnar Thijs je moeie. Veel getaig geta. Shinne Chien en is voor Gallagher. Agus Flint. Chimmetje Lorre. Oh, Femi bal. Loos het nas. Looie naar Shin. Again, that's decision making. Emma, she had possibly just that glimpse of a chance, a glimmer of a chance to move it quicker to Natasha Flint, who had made a run outside her.
Yeah,
it's a hard ball though.
Yeah, it's difficult, and again, you've got to give credit to Rangers because they're pressing really aggressively. You can see they're up for it. In that transitional moments, they look to try and win the ball back quickly. And I think the main difference for me is you can tell that Rangers play a set style and a set formation. They almost know where each other's going to play, and it's 1 and 2 touch football, whereas Celtic at the moment don't seem to have that same flow.
And that's the difference of having a coach who's been in since pre-season. Joe Potter has been able to put her stamp on the team, and a manager has just come in a couple of weeks ago.
And I think Elena said that as well. I think it's only been 1 month, and you can't expect that to happen so quickly. So, yeah, but I think that's a big difference for me at the moment. You could just see that Rangers are able to move the ball that little bit quicker, and they know where each other are making the runs, whereas I think Celtic are finding that really difficult, and that connections with each other just aren't there yet.
Fissachu sin go nuú the game ag lé agus SWPL hat je gedogas getachel rute kin gaib cruúchas tul. Sin séch sa vil Celtic adrast Flint dash down je ríis as go sin agus Chloe Craig. Dus karm de Monglu fiechan go soos line clear na gelede has de gaai kommasig. Dat die heel je relaatje die sin Monglu has is 3 de hand. Dit mag we sound. Well, it's the first glimpse we've had of Monglu going up that left-hand side, and she does have pace, she does have the skill to cause a problem up that side of the park.
Yeah, most of it's been on the other side, so yeah, it's the first opportunity we've seen it on the other side, and both teams are playing wing-back, so it's almost going to be 1v1s in those areas, and I think for both teams it's probably players that all like to go forward and not defend, so I think there'll be some interesting opportunities in that wing-back areas going forward for both teams.
Craig agus Natalie Ross current als raan te de gele sin na bug even de Jan voor Craig wie de winning signet. As Leo Hardy li kelle bui for Castan en Orson. Heesle Paulus asa machke partido jege die al stukkel verskillish. Cornet, zoals go Hardy erop zit. Hij voor de kassen. Kan je pakken nog even cool. Getavo, Caitlin Hayes. Cornet, late room. Nou, de gaffa kan er passen. De gelijk van Paragoenje naar wij smoenjen. Hill, komt kantje wil progen. Hey, die is. Gameje dat je al roeteken steun, roeteken sluitig. Go Arnott. Lena Sadiq will be happier now, I would say, Emma. The game has settled down a bit. The tempo has dropped quite a bit since the early stages.
Yeah, I was just thinking that myself. The tempo has definitely dropped a little bit. I think that's because both teams are sitting off each other in the build, so they've got some time to move the ball about, and then they can pick out the passes and slow the game down. But for Rangers, I think they need to carry on with that speed of play, because it was certainly working in the first 15 minutes.
Fad Kmoor Kuchach Piat Sanana legal. I guess the ball let throw Ashkid Kelsey Doherty ha Chinamachas Gahokala Senior. Dat je goed om verder alleen het jaar. Nis chauffeur villa doen een eentje nog leedje. Goed zuur Celtic doen en een keer in de klikje dan tasje gewoon een goelig. Klikje dan Rangers pucht zo is misschien veel met Doherty al de mag go Monglu. Door een gishach granke. Check na satje in de koelige duval. Lachlan, Kuchimich and Ross to the Kulu. I guess 5 for Norsen. Leila Fersky, the Lou got it, so it's going near much. Shen, Gavinia Kimi in the basket. Natasha Flint. Partido Suri, Dusa. Shin Farlatol. Juval, I guess here to Gemach, I guess. She did the first part of that well. Emma, she took the ball out of the air with the first touch and put it in front of her, but the delivery wasn't, well, if it was a shot on target, her delivery wasn't quite what she wanted.
Yeah, I even thought, could she even take an extra touch in towards the goal and then maybe cut it back? She definitely had runners in the box as well. So yeah, that for me was poor decision and poor delivery.
So the eerste keer maar Rangers er beetje doorheen had de bal vind ik daar en er hier skipper Joe Potter die goed gemaakt van een goal. Ross. Mention dat gedaan getako Kelly Clark. Skipper de Celtic. Chloe Craig komt Gemma Cunningham. Nuitjach ag Rangers sydd aspec yn for the clicket yn Gian ag Celtic is da skippertje de volgtjach tegen de nana lijn. Channaga de leer. Eerst Rangers de tansje nog goed. Clark ben je geheerd wou. Agus Flint rollaantje de son McLaughlin. Chen Cassin skippelt de van een clicket de China gemene paakje genoorsen zo truim kaken like McLaughlin. Doherty, Paul Shot, Gidach go Hayes, Partido le Count Norsen ka. Granko is de Natalie Ross, Gallagher, Leferski de Muyi. Vechen de geleid dat Gies kan zijn zuurvleep. En doe die ja. Je hele accurate edition. Vandaag kan je zeggen kolar. Rudiken voorste. Doherty le. Bal naar skimmisje go Hardy. Norsen. En die is die arm zo lijnen. Hayes is raad. Partido. Stegen een vien verder wel room met Natasha Flint. Monglu de Vermoeie. Flint Dalton en vien. Hij komt zich de neerste gelijk. Kijk eens belasten. Die gelaste er pak waar middag als raad. Partido jagen de Chinimpi. Gumelatolach. Norsen. Chile gedash. Go Hayes. Ha vegen de skuurlijk. Tars in de paard. Ja ga progen Hayes raad de shin. Nu is Sikamach in the Duval. It's the first real sight we've had of Natasha Flint, Emma, from that midfield area. When she gets the head down and she runs at defenders, she can be a handful.
Yeah, similar to Rachel Rowe, I think, in terms of Rangers. I think Celtic have got that, and I think she's made a huge difference coming back to Celtic again. And yeah, when she picks up the ball, when she starts driving at players, what it does, it just opens up other spaces for other players around her as well. So it's exciting to watch, but equally it'll create more opportunities for Celtic as well when they go forward.
Interesting now that Rangers are just sitting off, they're letting Celtic try and play it out from the back, totally in contrast to the way the game started.
Yeah, and maybe it was just a message right from the start was to, you know, get at them and make sure that you put them under pressure early on in the game.
Shot caught him, Rachel Rowe got to try it, Kelsey Doherty, Levy, Gunnar Matt, I guess. Maar de pers in bij Rachel Rowe, de wist is, Harishmik Abishe de Gorum, Likal Shechat de Gummerich. Just as we were saying that, Emma, another chance, and Kelsey Doherty had to be really alive here to come off her line and smother the danger here.
Yeah, and again, just what I was saying, showing her pace with and without the ball to try and get in behind, and it really came from nothing, just a little ball over the top and a little knock on, and she gets through. And I think that's what Rangers are trying to do at times, with whether it's Jane Ross or Rhea Hardy dropping into the spaces and Rachel making those runs in behind with her pace as well.
Caitlin Hayes, Paulacina, the cool look. Die heen kaal Kimmen en Sue Selena, Geshindraat het Hanschach het Partido. Skipt het de Doherty. Chile Gadash, oraheen. McLaughlin, de Vestagi. En Chile Ishiko, Jenna 5. Krijg geliat na paatke, tal gaan doen wel, Cathy Hill. Shechat de Leedenish. Hey, goal gan an Oshank, Monglu, Idash Conley, these Rinyama. And the Bachu Humaldi. Flint that Sul the reach of it, and some J very coin to Donishan, retiring at Asherach, some boy Pisha and a Kasua Megiddick, Ausamach. Hill, Stico Rowe, Kulasal, Shinsnok, Kaprogan Hay, Nuring Shoch, maar is dit Nuring? Gaat je dat Tollemach, the Raad, check it. But again, a neat bit of skill, that back heel from Rachel Rowe, freeing Brogan Hay.
Yeah, and then for me, it's even just, if you can, I know it was difficult, it was really close to going out the pitch, but can she maybe just whip it across the front of the goal? But yeah, again, I think for me, Rachel will create more and more opportunities. If it's not for herself, it'll be for other players for that Rangers team. So For me, she's going to make the big difference in terms of creating those opportunities, and you can see that she's got the skill to do it as well.
Doherty to Prague, agus sin tuchtrum go Rachel Rowe, agus at the rookie the shin mar a year ago. In his kind of territory, but she didn't quite catch that the way she wanted.
Yeah, I think as the ball comes up here, she maybe doesn't realise she's maybe got a chance. Maybe there's three bodies in the way and she just scuffs it with her left foot a little bit, but it would have been difficult for her to get a shot off without it coming off one of those three defenders.
2 minutes na mar sin go léúne, has the féidir she here tuil. So me géidir sin sin for Lizzie Arnott. Keimtje gosoch gyda nis y gamlan. Ac y bydd y cosiach tron y gêm ac y chŵl y gamlan. Sy'n nis y Rangers pwchtig sŵas cwyd caffac y Doherty. Gallagher y tarac eich fai ffef ys yn y fwyl ag ys lef Doherty carwadol. Nadle was y dies y dod as chyn jigli eich. Dies da skipper. Fiechan die ook al van een goed. Agus Rangers drw de sinne gynnau. Hardy, Rowe agus Ross. Diolch a shist of das, diolch a fedig. Celtic fiechan de snel weinig in de vrisje. Dan Celtic talus diolch a man al Gallagher Cameron. Gallagher. Ik kan te hoe over cool. Agus a sinne tot Celtic suas Peace ille. Jenne vaart. As the Arnott diolch a glachge. Ach die is chante de goal i dash doin. Nis je bawl het al suas go le fersker in je ma vinnig signer agus oprachig go partido. Die is a hier true je maach je to jeno was Jewishin. En Chimich al Arnott ach bawl de pusje go Mitchell Rowe. Had a melik partido. Nurin je fijn Chimichel. Doherty ga voor de mag. Chelsea Cornet. Nu je kook nog licht aan ik scoorde gallampen. Sassen smijnen het kuchpe finitaar. Geet geen nu in de Philippines. Ik Doherty is een kuchig. Brogan he Jenna 5. Agus Jane Ross, en neemt zijn diachinige Jane Ross, het as is scored a gallampe. Kemmich na het vader shot BBC gallampe van Union Slovenia daar ik hem. Die is Natalie Ross gefijn in een dribblet, first nog gewillig. Begon het peil, niet aan de paantje. Again, Natalie Ross created her own problems there. She was battling to keep a hold of it and then lunges into the second challenge and is possibly lucky just to be spoken to here.
Yeah, I think maybe this part here, she maybe feels herself, or was maybe a little, slight tug, and then I think she's just taking out her frustrations and lunging in for it there. But yeah, I agree.
Mitchell Rowe with the fakkel in the dream Gierig. Hier toe uredele die is Likalsius voor een klikt aan Celtic. Kero Turus aan de skippershoot kun je de deze kun je wat goed was gewoon. Ik toshach een season kutje voor de Rangers die is. Want de gelukkig in kem ik in geleer. Partido, Chan de Shalena, Gallagher, agus die is geput in Joper gedaasje McLaughlin as a raad. En je leest de PR show go dash go 5 me game see. Five. Go heel gemaakt of de progenition of maar de duels van Norenje. Traps de Celtic a puchtig zo zorgen. Flint, is meer op parach goeie, wanneer je bal de dash. Craig, hit in de Kasanek, Shen, dus Corum de Caitlin Hayes. Bal machine dash, Mamul en Ish, agus Gauprach dash, Garosse en Odd, agus Cortal. It's a well-worked move, Emma, but it's always difficult from that kind of range, and she didn't get the connection she wanted on it.
Yeah, it was better from Celtic in terms of moving the ball and the support runs, and yeah, again, for me, it was probably a really good opportunity to put your foot through it. The ball's been laid back, it's rolling towards you, and for me, it just looked like she just didn't put her foot right through it with any conviction at goal there.
Dus gaat de Geuver trippeltje Morris bieden Jenna 5. De eerste allemaal geen duwel. Craig Gierig was het in een Sashkere. Was het directie zijn nog een Paul toelicht te krijgen daar. Ik heb dat Gianna Jenna opergug mag als de Noshine heel nation. So die is Craig Gronke gedeurd, zoals Gulaferski. Tuchtje Flint, so die is Chater Sul, Catcheville, Partido, Gallagher het Ultra Vianjach, Partido Ruin. Tasha Flint, Rashach, die is hier de Kusunje de Val, agus McLaughlin as a raad. See Natasha Flint there, Emma, just expressing a bit of disappointment. She wants different kind of runs from the players around and in front of her.
Yeah, I've been seeing her the whole game, and she seems to be the organiser, the one that's trying to make things happen and speak to the players and tell them what type of movement to make. So, yeah, I think she's getting a little bit frustrated with the options that are in and around that midfield area.
I'm going to coach Minachin McGiddigan in a late. Has the fade the Shahia tool. You know, there are Celtic at the end. Steggen again Barach maar alleen de geladeerd dat je gaan hier tasten horen de wie Rangers agus toch begorgen via de hier tuilijn zo noemen je draasje Celtic af hier in die Barach gehoord is en zo is het dus le partido agus here for the Bosniak they haven't had many corner kicks in this first half, and that allows them to push the likes of Caitlin Hayes up and Kelly Clark.
Yeah, and I think I said it right at the start. I think both teams are capable of scoring from set plays as well. So Rangers will just need to make sure that they get this ball out the box. It's getting close to half time as well. It's a bad time to lose a goal in terms of Rangers. But yeah, Celtic will be looking for Caitlin Hayes as always, I think, or Ross inside that box.
Tasha Flint, Gal Shosha, Kelly Clark of a gal na blippen Oshing Jack in Sakai. I guess she favours this of Oaksa. Hayes caught him about. Who do you follow about Rachel Rowe? She got away well from Rachel Rowe there, just couldn't direct her header goalward. But again, it's just an illustration of the threat that Celtic pose from set pieces.
Yeah, it was probably just the distance as well, where she was in terms of how far away from the goal she was. You'd need a really good contact in there, and I think Rachel Rowe did well to put a lot of pressure on her, not make it an easy header in that area as well.
McLaughlin skippels to the val, Marazasht. She's in the Mavahanikis de Villa. Oh, Karanar, Dajan, Bo. Thank you, Doherty, Kusere, Daltronico Doherty, Noshahid, Jane Ross. Craig. Hier hij Calawon zoals de graag en heel bruin. Ja, mag gewoon dash gaan skippen. Kelly Clark, Shinferlat, Kachumal. Dash Kassen Chloe Craig. Die is gaan Kus McKenna. I think heading towards half time, Emma, Celtic will be happy to still be in level terms. Potter slightly frustrated that they've not managed to get a goal in that early period when they had so much possession and opportunities.
Yeah, I think so. I think Rangers started the game really, really well. I think if there was any frustrations, they've let Celtic get back into it. And yeah, I think Celtic look a lot more comfortable now. And I won't be surprised if maybe Joe again at the start of the second half really makes sure that intensity is really high again, and they high press them out from the back, because I think they got a lot of success from that.
Bhí úne bharach gacking agus sinna céalach go dá vinach gena lésa a dhácail. Ross le ball suas go Gallagher a chadíis. Chiad sa dar sú gahortadash the Rangers agus Rachel Rowe le Shen fiachan di Kuchimach adora níteach fudach saach var Rangers kaints an cogan ach an ikid docharte de vinnig adash go use Norsen Shen kain adash the Celtic Gallagher agus bouncy Anna Machorisha agus be Rachel some bring the Rio Hardy a shot shoot the Gallagher a bowl och luikje Lenny is Jack the Newsy agus think la san vi furach als san vi first nog de luikje dan en ju je gaat het Ravig de Rio Hardy is on Newsy shot shoot the Gallagher a bowl och luikje. Caitlin Hayes de legal shot voor de dash gepas geleune. Ja, en die Flint goed. She is de line nach Gabalschen. Eteri heen. Agus partido agus Gida gemach en je sinne famous jaar gen gormschen. Schach en winnaars van jedergenis. Agus maar mi draag. Er is met biune warach kan ik Gida gele. En is Levinac. Hey. Bal dolle machgeta. Craig. Bal na lawan. Michael Fickett juk gedakel. Natasha Flint. Steko Shen. Partido le room with the ish. Arnott. Nahui. Chin is stay. Fe die tachtje de koele gaat Chin Bojen. Agus Norsen Koprach gedash van een Spaantje gok. Juvalco de lokse Flint. Agus tjech tu fjár gena post. Na bal tjech ka leem na ga chantash in de paans go sinne goedje met jedig. Jenne le purint in Natasha Flint eine daraka tjech she lechar me woon. Agus partido gerre gewiele dash agus tjech purint Flint finest kuun de wiele agus One chuach gain het cool nerpa bashin. Agus sinne kielach gleune nerpa voor Flintetel. 2 jaar gaan post van Jelly echtje sin haast de fev. De son turl de show at Guybrucks va hier fart gaan le Rangers. Carmen Kileorach ach diechnig Celtic in Appalachia de haast de fev de hier turl kata. Show at Guybrucks at gleune Rangers in Johnny Celtic in Johnny.
Wel, Cynnan ag Lea Chwnia eiter na Skipian Shaw, Rangers and Johnny, Celtic and Johnny. Kem car chawn heddi fi on, ach if sy'n y biach gydraste voor Arnioliche, Emma Hunter, a chyn nos called them go off in the park. Emma, 0-0 at half-time, no goals. What were your overall thoughts on the 45 minutes?
Obviously the first 5 minutes I thought Rangers came out of the blocks. I think they high pressed and put Celtic under a lot of pressure. I thought Celtic really struggled with that initially, but as the game wore on, I think you could see Celtic building a little bit of confidence. I think if Rangers maybe took one of those early chances, the game could have completely changed, but they've almost allowed Celtic to gain that little bit more confidence and get themselves back in the game.
Well, you mentioned those early chances for Rangers. We can have a look back at them now. The first one was just after the first minute, and then the next one was just within the first 10. But Rangers didn't really have to do much to create the chances. It was just long balls into the box, and Jane Ross, particularly this one, acres of space.
Yeah, and I mean, that's probably your key message right at the start of the game as a manager. You want to put them under pressure early on. You can see that Caitlin Hayes has gone up to try and win the header there, but misjudged it. And again, you usually see Jane Ross taking those opportunities, but that for me would have settled the game down for Rangers and given them confidence.
But as you mentioned, this was the intent from Rangers at the start, but they did drop off after that. Do you think that was maybe part of the plan? You know, first 10 minutes, high press against Celtic?
Yeah, it could have been. Sometimes a manager can be quite clear about really getting at them and making sure that, you know, you put them under pressure early on. It is difficult, I think, to sustain that and not worry about getting caught with numbers in behind you, because teams can sometimes, you know, work out how to break that high line with 3 players, and then you've got an overload in the middle. So maybe Rangers are just cautious not to do that for too long.
But it's not often you see 2 chances for Jane Ross and she doesn't put them away.
Yeah, and I mean, she's been called up to the national team for that reason. She's very clinical when she gets those opportunities in front of goal. And I think I said it in comments there, if you were being critical about Rangers over the last few games, it would be the amount of goals they've maybe scored considering the amount of possession that they've had. So for me, it's probably something that Joe will touch on is making sure that, you know, they take those opportunities and then gives them an opportunity to relax and settle a bit more into the game.
What were your overall thoughts on Celtic? Guilty at times early on in the first half, giving the ball away unnecessarily, not really under a lot of pressure at times as well. What were your overall thoughts, particularly here the examples we'll be seeing?
Yeah, I think for me they were forcing balls into areas that Rangers probably wanted them to go in, and you know, they were winning the ball high up the pitch here, not in here but maybe higher up the pitch. But yeah, for me, you have to give credit to Rangers as well. It's a formation that's almost man for man, so they've gone with the intensity to make sure that they put pressure on those players and win the ball early on. As you said, they've dropped off slightly, but you can see this intensity of putting the goalkeeper under pressure, and then they get the rewards high up the pitch. And for me, Rachel just doesn't quite catch that one right on her left foot. But for me, I think maybe Rangers need to think about doing that more again in the second half and cause Celtic problems building from their back line.
But Celtic, I suppose, they did come into the game more and more, particularly the last 5 minutes of the half. And, you know, maybe you'd put these down as half chances for Celtic, but it's encouragement for Elena Sadiku at least.
Yeah, I think it is. I think after the first 15 you would have thought it could have been a game where Rangers were relentless, but yeah, credit to Celtic, they came back into the game, and this was a good opportunity for Ross there. I think she just didn't quite catch it right again. It was a great opportunity, and again, any set play you'd expect Caitlin Hayes to get on there. Maybe from that distance you maybe just work on heading the ball back to the right area and allow someone else to attack the ball, because it is quite far out.
A wee bit surprising though to see Natasha Flint. She did have an effort herself near the end of the half. She was taking that corner. Surprised not to see her in the mix there? Yeah,
you'd probably want Natasha in the mix. And I think I've seen Kelly Clark recently taking a lot of the set plays, so it might have just been a tactical reason why they've done that, and it's something they've maybe worked on at training. But yeah, for me, I think Rachel Rowe and Natasha Flint is probably the 2 key players for me that can change this game in terms of their ability to open up play and create chances.
An interesting second half ahead. We can have a look at the other fixtures today, Emma, and the results that have been happening all around the country in the SWPL. And one game I want to pick out to you, Emma, I don't know, have you seen that Aberdeen score until now? Last time I spoke to you, it was 3-1 Dundee United, now 4-3 Aberdeen. Final score, Ailey Shore with a goal near the end of the match. What a game.
Yeah. I think usually when Aberdeen and Dundee United play each other, it is usually a game like that where both teams are really up for it and they go for it. It's almost like a derby game. Yeah. So I'm actually not surprised by that score, but to see Aberdeen come back and win that, yeah, that's probably great for them, not so great for Dundee United in their position.
We could do with a couple of goals from that game in here though as well.
Yeah, true.
Well, thank you for now, Emma. A cadrasta hasing gytol y chleingin vo manager Rangers. Hwyd mysio ffach galora fo hiwn the gada. Siogaid maha, Joe Potter. Joe, before we talk about your time at Rangers so far, let's go back to the start. Where did football start out for you?
Oh, that's some time ago. Do you know what? I've always played for as long as I could remember. I don't ever remember not loving football, not watching football, not playing football, whether it was on my own or with my cousin or watching my brother, you know. So I think that's for me, it's just always been there. And I think it's one of those things that I think it's either in you or it isn't. I was definitely part of the minority growing up. It was always, you know, girls shouldn't play football, but you can because you're okay. So, you know, I had a good group of lads around me that allowed me to play and allowed me to join in, which is always helpful when you can kick a ball a bit. So, yeah, it was difficult. Never something that I ever thought this would ever grow to. I think even if you'd have asked me 10 years ago, I wouldn't have believed it either. So, you know, where the game's gone to and how much it's grown has been massive, and it's brilliant to see, really. And I think it's just still in its ascendancy, and where it can get to, I think the world's the oyster.
When you look back at your playing career, what are some of the highlights? What really stands out for you when you reflect back?
Obviously, the World Cup that I've spoken about, that'll be forever, you know, a special part of my career. I had to make a tough decision when I was like 28, 29. I knew I was coming towards the latter end of my career, and it looked as though I was starting to drop back into the England fold after being out for a while. And I had a choice to make. I had a full-time job at the time. I was coaching, I've always coached. I had a full-time job at the FA at the time. And it got to a point where it was like, are we going to give this a go? And go, say full-time? It wasn't really full-time wage. I would have had to have taken a massive pay cut. But I knew there was a potential of a World Cup around the corner, and I knew there was a potential of another Euros around the corner. And I was like, am I going to regret this? Am I going to, you know, be able to live with the fact if I turn this down now of what could have happened? And took my chances on going to a World Cup and a Euros, and thankfully that worked out for me. You play a very different part at international level than what you do at club level sometimes, but it's been a part of that special journey. I really feel that at England at that moment in time, that was a real turning point.
And no regrets at all?
Absolutely not. No, not when you got a bronze medal at the end of it. So I'm happy with that one.
When you were coming to the end of your playing career, what were you thinking about at that moment, and was it always going to be going to coaching? Yeah,
it was easy for me. I always knew that as soon as I retired, I was going to go into coaching. However that looked, I didn't know it was going to be management straight away. I always knew I wanted to earn my stripes and coach for a good few years. That's why I did it while I was playing. First got into it when I was at Arsenal, and it was something that they always had as an extra arm. Do you want to coach and come and do this? And the more I did it, the more I enjoyed it. I've literally coached every level you could imagine. I think I call it babysitting with the young under fives, and then I've done all the way through to, you know, college football, centre of excellences, senior football, and now into my managerial career of professional football. So I think to start off with, I found it easy, and then that love grew for coaching and wanting to be better, and then wanting to coach the best.
There was a sense of disappointment the way Rangers finished last season. So what were you inheriting when you arrived at the club?
Yeah, I think that was one of the toughest things, is the mental change and the mental stimulus for the rest of the players. That was one of the first things that I looked at when I came in, and it was, you know, getting these players to believe that they are the best in the country and they are the team to be reckoned with, and we are the team to beat. And it was just trying to change small things a little bit at a time. I was really conscious of coming in and changing too much too soon, because I know how much of a detriment that can be and how much of a negative effect it can have. I knew there wasn't a lot that needed changing. I knew there was a good group of players here, but watching them, I was like, I wanted them to have a little bit more confidence in their play, give them a real identity and a real way of playing that they really enjoyed playing in.
One thing you have changed is the style of play, and it intrigued a lot of people, I have to say, at the start of the season, particularly with the three at the back and players maybe playing out of position. Has that always been your philosophy, or is that something you've developed since you've kind of come to Rangers?
I knew what I wanted from certain positions, and I knew what the players could bring in those positions. I was never going to force a formation on a team that wasn't ready for it or didn't have the players to play in that formation. I think it's important that you nurture those players into certain roles that they can fulfil without forcing it and not having the buy-in from the players as well. But watching the team from last year and doing my own little research, I knew that, you know, this team could more than comfortably play a way of playing that I liked. Hence why I took the job as well. I wouldn't have took it if I didn't think that I could help this team do that. As you said, I think there's certain players that are playing out of position, but it's using their strengths in that position, and I think it's seeing those strengths and seeing that ability to bring that to life. And as I say, really looking at players' strengths as before weakness.
You want to win trophies, the club want to win trophies. How do you view the next few months? How do you keep this momentum going? We've
not won anything yet, and that's the overriding message from me to these players, and we know that, the players know that. We're not on different pages. We know we're happy with where we're at right now, and we know that's just deserved. These group of players work extremely hard on the pitch day in, day out to be where they're at, and it's no coincidence that we're doing really well at the moment. It's just keeping going and maintaining that standard. That's a big thing for us at the club, is keeping that bar high, and we know we'll end up where we deserve to be at the end of the season, and we're hoping that's exactly where we are now.
Wel, fa ma fi ffain ffach o colo ddi Joe Potter fi human gyda'r agus. Well, gif sy'n biach eile for anioliche Emma Hunter dras the hen. Emma, hearing there from Joe Potter, it was great actually to chat to her, but yeah, she's been a fantastic success for Rangers so far this season.
Yeah, and everything she said in that VT, I think you can see that on the pitch as well. There is an identity, there is a style of play. They do like to keep possession and get the ball forward. Hopefully we can see more of that in the second half and we can see some goals. But yeah, I think Joe's been a great addition to the league, and I think Rangers have definitely made strides forwards in terms of that identity and knowing who they are. So yeah, it's great for the game.
And she knows the job she's got here at Rangers. She's not getting ahead of herself at all. They've not won anything yet.
No, that's true, and I think that's what she always gives that sort of perception that, you know, she's always looking for higher standards each time they play. She's very grounded, and I think she keeps the players very grounded as well. So yeah, I think yeah, she does that really well, and I think if she continues to do that and continues to grow this team, that she will get her rewards and maybe they will win some trophies this season.
Well, let's see what happens, absolutely. But Emma, talking about you, you're of course now involved at Hearts, a Hearts Girls Academy manager. How much are you enjoying that?
Yeah, I love it. A lot of people say it's a dream job for me. So obviously, having been in the SWPL as a manager myself, it was part of the game that I really enjoyed, was nurturing and developing young players. So for me, it was a no-brainer to come down to Hearts. It was a club that really were moving forward, and you could see that the strides and the belief in the women's game. So there was a great infrastructure already there for me to step in, and yeah, I'm really enjoying it. And I think they're looking at the girls' academies across Scotland, and we're looking to try and create a best v best situation, so that hopefully that we can have young players stepping onto pitches like this and, you know, make their dreams come true, and actually make it in the women's game, because there is a big gulf between getting in the academy to the women's first team. So for me, that's something that I'm really passionate about delivering.
And of course at Hearts as well, you've got Eva Olid, female coach. We just heard from Joe Potter there. Elena Sadiku, you were a manager in the SWPL as well. Throw in Leanne Ross, umpteen managers there, and it's just fantastic to see so many female managers coming through in the SWPL.
Yeah, and I think it helps the game's growing. I think the clubs are growing. I think from my perspective, there was never really those opportunities to become an academy manager because there weren't academies that were set up by the clubs. So for me, the opportunities are now growing for females in the game. So hopefully you'll see more and more of that happening. And for me, it's only good for the game to have that role models, both men and women in the game.
Well said, absolutely. Well, looking ahead to the SWPL, agus gemichin ila hadi hiing and seo eith BBC Alpa gemichin sa Finitar Cup agus well klingishin barach vushin trona game ach adraste hashing atal nul gonja hadish Alka Henley.
Well, Jeha kunna gemichin ashin at fadachig Alpa in the Philippines agus an orshin dashko league hun hanidava. Wel, sy'n swinning gyda cynnych gyda gisal ach gem ac ein Queen of the South an dribblers gyfawn yn o'i Montrose agus nôr sy'n alap yn o'i Newline Nyon Slovenia agus nôr sy'n adash gan yn SWPL e dris lai yn y farst Hibs yn o'i Rangers. Sy'n haddi hyn. Agus adash y sio Guybrucks as yn gisal as on y dar y le o'ch gydol Ket Leferski sgwn y fwyl. Agus toch gedaan ik leeuwen ik aan jaar van Celtic oor wat zijn hier toerische game tasje geget paragarm en een groege tasje flintlische garme gedigt je gij 12 jaar gaan vast van Amerika nog Leferski kun de game met Ashketal Shen Marco Partido Kelly Clark, Tasha gewonnen goal. Hayes, Suasalina, Shechat the Doherty, there's Karim to Leferski fine, ik is a look at yours on Shinigiano, Fede Teich, Amy Gallagher, Shock Karim, Kayaraga, that's Flint! Agus had to the Kia tail line. Tasha, the Darane, Agus Nukarakan and Kuma Kriya, Gakela, a kind again. Agus a no, through again. Celtic the goal at Hoshachek. Vier Hoshachek Darale. Emma Hunter's barely back in her seat, and Celtic, arguably against the run of play, have come out of the second half like a bullet from a gun and opened the scoring. Natasha Flint. It's a really well worked move as well.
Yeah, I've just come flying up the stairs there, just seen the goal. Again, a long ball at the channel, well worked, and again, Natasha Flint's got so much space in the middle, inside the box there, and all she needs to do is side foot it into the net. So, yeah, a great start for Celtic, like you said.
You'd have to highlight Amy Gallagher there as well. She had a look up, she could have maybe had the effort selfishly herself, but she saw that Flint was in a better position and squared it to her.
Yeah, great composure, especially in that situation, you know, under high pressure. She lifts her head, you've seen that, unselfishly squared the ball and made it really, really easy for Tash Flint to finish there.
Tasha Flint, if I'm told, Kutramach Stochela, Shiniano, Jelena says in a high, like you know, Katrich, Nerva, Idiosit, I guess, with the here told, like it's a Daraka, Shadash, Jack and Sakai, you know, Hibs. It's auch a Kutchach Kiri, the Dara told, Wash and Akikinach shit, the Dara told like it. He's Suis. Juk, Harichet, Juk. They're going to line it. Partido, the Ishkoint, Katjeville, Leferski. I guess I should triple over the Hugadish, the Mittag, they're going to line it. Yargadashu, it's famous Chelsea Cornet. Jelikadish. He's Gachamal Pearl. I guess I should find your Fogany. 35 seconds, Emma. You did well to get up here in that time.
I know, I didn't quite make it though, did I? But yeah, for me, it was probably what the game needed as well, just that goal early on, and now Rangers have really got to come back into the game, and it hopefully will open it up a little bit and we'll see chances at both sides here.
Als we het Rangers maken die eerst leprak. Geven deze doel. Stach begon je weer een schiet waarschijnlijk giet le een nach maatjes in ze Celtic de le Gillian en McTosh gedaan le. Begin is live in het maar McGrath who gave doel zijn. We did think, or you did think, Emma, that Rangers would come out at the start of the second half and go again, try and get the energy levels up, but it's Celtic that have come out and started much quicker.
Yeah, but maybe again that might have been part of the team talk, was that they were frustrated at how the game started, so they wanted to go and change that this second half, and Celtic might have had a similar team talk in that sense, but yeah, again the game settled down. Celtic are dropping in again a little bit, which is understandable, and Rangers need to find a way to get through now.
Ja, en de Tjeug zag terug de deur, de haakjes van Bouwlat, Kachin Ross, Tjeug Rawata, het hasje gaat. En speelt die dochter te show hoeka, like voor de macht, Chloe Craig, Flint. Al Art, we Craig en Orson Suis, vastgeleerd leer. Kind of sound close at McKenna. So the Leferski Kahorcha Dash to McLaughlin. Mittag tarsing a lane in Gian. Good Doherty. Arnott. Letting you find Chimical. Like Partido. Shen Nurinji smach gainje. Arnott. Shona Skilt en ik het de Rangers. Dat gaat prachtig zo. En nu Rio Hardy. Looked promising from a Rangers point of view, Emma, but the flag was up early there.
Yeah, it's hard from sitting over here to see the exact line, but it did look quite tight for me on that side.
Mafashk, very tight. Je gaat de diesketa, Hill, Suis, Goroacha, Ross stay the coolest, Bia Flint, Stu, the Shechat Constri, and McLaughlin, Sapartido, Divamuyi, Amy Gallagher, Kuchach, Ute Gallagher show ake like partido Paul liter a liún a sin chorá pulach cumaiseach goúnse chuúnach partido is the agus McLaughlin agus McGiddig Cathy Hill gain a follow. Kelly Clark, Tarsing, Jenna Keenan, Achai, Rangers at Ash, Coeman, Acha, Echtrek, Rangers Shinian, Sadiko Miholichile, Utikin, the Odne Pathke. All the pitch to get Ash, go Cathy Hill, Femi Vimohalkeville, the first ski of the Cooloo. I guess Jenna Killior, son of Bowl of Vinnick, Ross, Tarsing, go Shane. Rowan de Vermoeie machine Chile dat is stuk ook Kelly Clark. Of course Rangers have that knowledge, Emma, that they know they've so many times this season against Celtic they've gone behind, but they've always found a way of coming back, so there's a long way still to go here.
Yeah, there is. I was just thinking as a manager as well, when that happens, when you've had your team talk and it's been 0-0 and then suddenly within 30 seconds that changes. You know, if it was 1-0, you maybe would have different messages to say at half-time, but like you said, Rangers have got experience enough in the squad to make sure that they know how to manage this game, and there's still a long way to go.
Long Luke Garrigastay. Yes, then you hear it far, Emma. Well, she did the first part of it so well, Emma, and then she just kind of snatched at the opportunity.
Yeah, comes across the ball, and yeah, again, it's probably in that wing-back areas. All the sort of wing backs like playing forward, and it's just that defensive side that maybe they lack, and a really good opportunity for her there, yeah, and it just snatches at it well wide.
Gallagher Miholichinach Gobal Nasash Gorisha. Chadish Natasha Flynn to find room me in the path get agus Rutella gaan to Norigevla Ferski a cool line Gian on the race no mittag I Punik race shin the Rangers. Het is geen toch het terugspelen. Paul Hayes trying to Jenna 5. Stuart Potter, McPherson on the Gorag. It doesn't pathke. Je Kimmer Hilde is dat Showman Goers. A Gaisach give it the Chile Gadash, maar ha en de gemmetje in de Celtic de distance. Hoe kun je had de weer gedig. Chile Gala had in de gemmetje in Vinnick. Hill, het is aan de roos dat ik Rio Hardy Craig je komt al zuilen de shin. Ja, dan Albert Craig. Als je bekijkt de skip je een Safria League playing in het Ash. Dan Jay is Partick Thistle in de misk. Celtic just tolletje aan legaal. Shane le Paul Rutigan Kudich, Clark Jelikidish. The Sheen and Lotion le Lard had raw art as on Leferski. Mission shit of a Shakiri. Logan Hay. Rangers vegan the further Kuhn, I guess we shouldn't give my skill elbow. Chelsea Cornet. He's talking to Lisha Alden Doherty, Jickley, Celtic, I guess Jelikidish, neither of our Corntal. We've seen Nicola Doherty score some spectacular goals, but I suspect that was the cross, Emma.
Yeah, I think if I remember right, I think she scored one against Aberdeen when we played at Ibrox. Yes. So yeah, I remember that. But yeah, it was a good overlap run, and that's maybe something that Rangers need to look to do, is to at times when the wing backs are on the ball, maybe gamble and actually get, you know, the centre backs, the left and right centre backs further forward as well to try and create overloads.
Sam Kerr, Kayla McCoy, Nicky Doherty, I guess Lizzie Arnott, who in the tour lash in the new operating, Keith Gignoni, and Asha Sigipling, Fikit Siga. Arnott, Eduval, toch een lijnen, I guess Piddag de Kassen, en de Gumal Pel, genoeg in die oprige gedasje Jane Ross, Natalie Ross is eruit. En het show bal maken is just een Celtic Haroar te drop uit de zon. Lefersky. Hill Unia. Kind Chimichel on it. He is Ashke. Point this on Hardy McKenyev. Kijk, via die Uziane Stevo en Glie Jorre. Dat het Rangers vochtige dash. En de boekstag geheen. 5. De Marco Skipper. Doherty, Nicky Doherty. Hij is Lefersky via die Courier. He's Chintarsing. I guess not into Lefersky show gemal stay. Hij took him a deval ga bouw laatste stay. Lefersky zuurlijk gekogen ja bouw like Rangers Doherty. Even de jarige Aske Jane Ross. I guess die is eentje when je scalp gestartet. I guess hoe dele. Natasha Flint is raad in Europa van Nicky Doherty. Goed in je Celtic gedacht te leeg heen. I guess like the hill the gal came stay goed in Rangers te leeg Celtic. Gewoon middag in de came gal dash. Middag. Profit Tarsing go Doherty. Inshallah, Gidach go partidos hij should go to dash. De Garnet, get uit Genesuus en een verder kijkje. Al duidelijk was in. Gedaan een druppeltje gaat op passen. Dat is Cohees Makelio. Rachel Roll is je bal te draaien. Hij is verder pas. Hij is daar je gaat de knap with het gemaakt. Kelly Clark is de raad. In de nerve begint. Maria Hardy knocking on wood, Emma, and again Celtic with the architects of their own demise. Partida giving the ball away over in the corner.
Yeah, and again a good delivery, and it just seemed to just look really slow as it was going creeping towards the bottom corner.
Celtic having to absorb a lot of pressure just now.
I think, yeah, but I think that's natural. They're 1-0 up. Rangers are pushing players forward. You can see Nick's got a bit more intent, getting higher up the pitch as well. So for Celtic, they need to expect it, sustain it a little bit, and get a little bit more control in the game.
Actually, Jekyll of Celtic, maar was een graag voetig Rangers Chile gedacht. Bezig en goed gedaan ik Celtic is een kutjes begin en engine. We're talking Emma about the knowledge that the Rangers players have, that they know that they can come back against Celtic, but conversely for Celtic they also know they need the second goal.
Yeah.
And shot caught him out, Monglou, Tarsing, caught him Ellis on Natasha Flint. Oh, it's came out of position, Shachat. Well, we're talking about the need for the second goal from their point of view. What a chance that was.
I thought that was a shoe-in when it went into Natasha Flint there. She had so much time. Almost too much time there, and I think, yeah, just dragging the ball slightly wide. But Rangers, again, it's probably because they're throwing more people forward. They're open up. Again, so much time, and just drags the ball wide from Natasha Flint, and you wouldn't expect that. How coolly she finished the last one.
Jennifer van McCassin, Jurgen, en natuurlijk hier. Ik is toch de goede Natasha Flint, Helena Sadiku, en nog een Jisha Gretchen. When you have those chances in an arena like this, you need to take them.
Yeah, I think so, and I think that opportunity comes from Rangers maybe just squeezing the game up, and you get a chance and it breaks, and it's your opportunity to maybe just put the game to bed in a sense. And for me, I'm probably thinking, if Joe's maybe thinking about some changes, but when you look at the Rangers bench, it's quite thin in terms of who they can put on, but perhaps Mia out in the wide area for Brogan, just it seems to have gone quiet down the right hand side for Rangers.
Yeah, look at that hier. Maar was een graag Kirsten McLean hier. Hou het hier, Kutje, heel de week gisteren net in de push. Caramella, de Rachel Rowe, Paolo Gudestey en Munjolina Giannik Celtic. Doherty, Jean Faralena. I think the Celtic defence got the distance right between themselves and the goalkeeper there. There's just sufficient room for her to come and claim that high ball.
I think as well, because it's an in-swinger, it just makes it that little bit easier for us as well to collect. Maybe thinking about an outswinger there, just making it that little bit more difficult for the keeper.
Doherty Torres Gillior took me about. Bekan Gikin across. Flynn to find Kronke the shot. Leferski is thuis. Hij is in Galois huisje. Kit Leferski vegen de karm terug hierheen. Haast. Gorm met de goal zeggen. Dat gaat karm. Gross. Bouw voor Kassen. Gorm met de goal zeggen. Partido. Vegen die bouw we gewoon Pau. Dat de boksen. Shen de chain de Vermoeji. Prachtige voetdag hier. Zeg eens Paul terug. Tarsing boksen. En de druppel spoelig zeggen door Flint in de hoekal. Flint naar Ash voor Ross. Vachen wil Flint. Gelijk komen ze de games te geleden met Jevig Caramelle. En vast vegen de groeg. Rangers vegen die prachtige shot. Jane Ross met Ash. Rachel Rowe puchtte gedurp. Again, Emma Celtic creating chances but not being clinical enough in the final third.
Yeah, the game's certainly opening up a little bit. Obviously, with Rangers trying to get the goal, it'll allow maybe Celtic those little opportunities to get in behind. And you're right, every chance that they get, they need to take them. And I think Kit maybe just slowed down and came back on herself and allowed Celtic to get reset and into shape. So maybe could have been a little bit more direct.
Mia Macaulay, Chisachu is on he is fine, is on Rangers. Is toch Celtic Athene is meer het aardig uit. Gallagher could catch him with Doherty. Dat skipper is meer in het aardige Nouri en nu is fijn. Ze hebben de shin in Garstad. Haal ze nog en je doet wel. We zien Ashworth Clifford en Jagina harde geen shin. Ligt het daar low. Ross, Gagronke, Tarsenko, Shen, again at Ash, Pia Game Gallagher, Partido, Devamuyi, Leferski and Lungi as the Vokse, Monglu and Ishtifinus, there is Gallagher. En je lust met je Europe Darakas nu crossen was Shen, ga je chiedog troje ko Jenna 5. Shachat het kreeg drapse, en Stu Bowleham, Hasurig, Jane Ross. Rio Hardy, Rachel Rowe, viechen die Pijnke Kelnele, Vui, Shen, Jenema, fijn als een raad. Cornet, Hemi Godash, Kathy Hills, Leferski Savinach, goed Kappa Gorische. Wenig Doherty, het Paul Lard. Ook al is tegen Noorsen Kluchi Ishela Arnett, de Godash, Chelsea Cornet. McLaughlin. Hey. Soon Ferrevui, Sukshin Karam to Monglu. Braak woorden gedus. Kijk, je gaat nu kraantje in hoog krijgen. Paul Tullich, Shachat, Leferski. Toch gelusje de Reish, Rui. Halas ski, Leferski is shoeing een goede stig in de game. Ik tasje gedaan en leed. We gaan nu maar ik vergis je eentje in je vergis je. Netak, Ross, Tarsenko Doherty, Giliora Rangers e boektig zoes. Arnott, en is Partido. Gallagher, hier naar Ashton, ergens hij is in het oprig maar voor Celtic gemaakt van een goede Natasha Flint. Klechke in eerste son. Rachel Rowe kom al falla dwoepen. Dus Karim de Natalie Ross skule gemaakt door Monglu. Han is je nu progen hij. Tot zeggen dat haast de vier in de goal de wokse. Hij kunt bakken gaan. Chili Adash Natalie Ross. De Shen bal pikken heel cool. Flint, Marco Partido. Gwyn y garant hewl y cwsgais yn tygarnant a chaplysig y ddasgu is femi. Docherty, bawlwch y ffala, fach gydwch y cawn Caitlin Hayes. Fi'n gyda'n y torsach y ffas ski yn ys, agos ysyn y cilwch gyl merach gynnyddol hyn ystag yn y gêm. Shen, Marco Partido, Flint, Gallagher, na rwynion. Chaiddi is dod as go Hayes ac with bawl art ystyn ystig UNC Amy Gallagher agos Ica go Monglw gaddich y brogan Hayes jelig ydys. Flint, Craig Gairi sy'n faradol diw fas y fan fo Flint, Craig fo aster agos Amy Jenna 5 Graham accumulation. Shot from distance, but she had to hold on to that Jenna 5 because Lefersky was closing in looking for the rebound.
Yeah, I think it was a good take from Jenna. Quite comfortable, I think, as well, just because of the distance that the shot came in from, and she had time to adjust her body and get behind it. But Celtic, for me, are now dominating the game. They're keeping possession.
Oh, Duval, Tjechrawata Doshach Lefersky. Haast, Hagoramachke, Gallagher. Je gaan de room hier heen. Bieg. Atli Ross gaan door een Yishine for Smach Chilia Koshen. Geschechet even Tarsen. Yeah, as you were saying, Emma, Celtic are enjoying the lion's share of possession and chances now.
Yeah, they're on top. I think the midfield have got to grips with the game. I think Amy Gallagher in particular is getting more involved and linking up with the wing backs and yeah, creating good opportunities on goal as well.
And as you predicted, Emma, we expected to see Maya McCauley and Sarah Ewan's also coming on. Players are tiring now and there needs to be changes on both sides here.
Yeah, I thought maybe it might have been Brogan Hay that came off, but she's staying out on this right-hand side and Mia on the left-hand side. I think Mia will give slightly more going forward. She's very energetic and they'll try and get down the flanks. And yeah, I think they just need something different up top, and making that change for Sarah to come in for Rio makes sense in terms of trying to create more opportunities and get the strikers on the ball.
And with Lefersky going off for Celtic, Emma, they will miss that outlet up top, and she was visibly tiring, but you could see the Rangers defence are always uncomfortable when they get the ball to her or behind them.
Yeah, but I guess for me the manager will be thinking as well that she'll need legs to make sure that Rangers aren't getting really comfortable possession on the ball, and fresh legs to make sure that they try and keep that lead and get someone working really hard up top for them will be really important.
Agus merach gael a cool drips of a Rangers, agus first in the last deal I got it. Agus vedd Murphy Agnew is Lucy Ashworth Clifford vedd at toch nien pies in de nerb geju te Celtic kom al dolach. Paul Marshall go roll Nuringi. Well hij pieg McCauley het nog in één agus had de last go in en de blip in de stoel en de Hurricane het op de Savannah just on Rangers. Paul Sheen play van een goal agus Mia McCauley hier toe. Eiche Targek Joe Potter de Koprige agus had de last go in. Emma, for first touches don't come much better than that.
Yeah, for me though, she was really positive and was inside the box, coming inside the pitch. And again, just a really easy finish to make. Not a lot of pressure on her. Cool, calm and collected. Again, Rachel, that ability to take the ball down from that height and play her in. Absolutely brilliant and made it a simple finish for Mia in there. But an instant response for Joe's substitutions, and probably against the run of play for me. Celtic have had more opportunities than Rangers, so yeah, game on again.
Mia McCauley, none of Tull Chia again a day and I guess just Karen maar was Celtic back Karen and no you ran and no you drew naar hoe dat in de keer Tull en nu roet 4 the Rangers find that komen en ha game again is. And how often do we see, Emma, when changes are made, it just unsettles teams, and it's a good time to make an impact.
Yeah, 100%, and it was a good time to make those substitutions as well. She was patient, obviously, giving Rangers the opportunity and the players on the pitch to make those differences. But when it got to 60-65 minutes, you need to start thinking about how can you change things, because you could see that Rangers were flattening a little bit, and the two strikers weren't getting on the ball, and the wing backs were running out of ideas. So for me, it was good changes.
Still going to pick it minutes, McGilligan-ish. McLaughlin to find can't have you got the dream G the here, that's the castle in this. I guess shouldn't you get to the line if anything give us in the Gian and Australia, America, and the Corum and a hacket on the game or so. If you look call us Gajila, that's Gajila, or Stagus, shouldn't attack to this. Sarah Ewens, Benediction, continue the cooler of Kelsey Doherty. And it does underline the point we were making earlier, Emma. If Celtic don't capitalise on the chances they had, it can come back and bite you in these games.
Yeah, 100%. And I think we said it right at the start. It's not one of those games like maybe Celtic and Rangers are used to, where they maybe get, you know, into double figures in terms of chances on goal, and you've really got to make sure that you take them.
US and shoe like Rangers are asked that. Brogan Hayes, when you got a Cathy Hill to the gal, Shanach Femi Hain. Satig is Chachigal. Roll Nish, Gachino Hain. Suur doing that. I guess notion took out a Darapui, Pia Sarah Ewens, Achanoringi, all the Humal. Keys, Le Paul Art, Achanil Leferski, Echinishti, and Amashi, I guess Futi Nicky Doherty, Shin, the Kaladash. If Agnew, Vafiachendi, Kapak is Kuchumuchadora. Hill, large at Gilliorison, Ein trying to Brogan Hay. Stay tall, as I'm learning of him, see a Jorashin. Hay. Yes, still kind of fishing to pass the bear. I really Natalie Ross going through us going Natasha Flint. I guess Jack a scoop, we can follow the arches a beat. Hill, Gahilik. Unik, Shen, the bowl, which was this shot. Had the Jadash Shachat can Huchum the piece Unik Leorach Celtic, Rangers to dash. The smack of the game in this. Brogan Hay, fine stay, it's cool look. Ashworth Clifford, it is. I guess, look at that. Oh, you know, Matt, fine at Ash or it. He's when you could have played the Macabana. So, I'm going to get for Van Hasselnoch. The Boschen of a sound to Rangers. Rachel Rowe, Chinonal, Gagal. Rowe, I could love Asadou like Macaulay, Dalmar Suez, Archie Cagliore, Val, Natalie Ross, Gavinixon yet. Macaulay, and his European shall, I think in Dochasach. Chance Cornet, Boringi Kumach, Sabi is cool like an eruption. Doherty. Gary Askewn Gallagher, Shea Ashgreen McGallagher got that, I guess Shen, Sticker Ross, Jerry Craig got Erie, I guess Ashworth Clifford, Nish in the line flee, Juval, a Shin State, go Agnew, Jay Sorin Yanulish, Rachtach Suez got that. Again, it looked like a close call, Emma, but the two substitutes working well together there.
Yeah, I thought that was tight as well, but yeah, I thought it was a great ball just to see that. Maybe slightly from that angle, just offside maybe, but yeah, great ball, but maybe just needed to hold her run just ever so slightly.
Al Fata the ish trying it, and Drippler's good Doherty. Celtic a Calvary, the ish to me on the pathket. Yes, put into Sarah Ewens. From Schleyer. Cornet. Doherty, Suez, Jane Ross. Michtak in order. Get a blasen Jurich. Gadachking and the Michtak in haast order. Hill. Kind of dash for here, I think I the cool look. Maybe Kafka and Osana come on the stay. The tag. And with just under a quarter of an hour left, Emma, it's now very much about which side wants this, who are the big players, who's going to make the decisive impact.
Yeah, exactly, and I think it's just hope both teams just maybe really going for it as well, and another couple of chances I think will come for either team, so it's just about who's got the composure to take that opportunity.
Brogan Hay, fiach yn eol, Michael het Chloe Craig erin, maar hier het wachgu gedorp. Hay Kain, Tarsen, Kelly Clark, tuven een prootje, Ristje McLaughlin, Ishal, agus Chloe Craig, Jaylick, die is hoe het hele had je het boeide dash, de Rangers. Hay, Rachel Rowe, de cool, ik zie een rowing. Savage gaan het toch hitten en kassen en Garfield Clifford. Maar we Brogan Hay, is Macaulay van Chinnestay. The Vokes a week, but a great bit of skill from Brogan Hay, and Macaulay again almost making an impact at the back of the 6-yard box.
Yeah, it was almost wing back to wing back there with Macaulay coming at the back post, but I think Brogan's got a little bit more success down this side now. I think it was maybe just that change. I think Meng Lu had a lot of pace and Brogan wasn't able to get past her, but she's getting a lot more success down this side now for Rangers.
Yeah, Ashworth Clifford, the line she geschinshin wel nog tijdje krijgt. Heeft gelast van koeling, bare koeling in Hanneke. We gaan natuurlijk willen niempie is het. Was het de Ashko Rangers le. En is tussen minutes in de machine daar. Cathy Hill puchtig. Sonne daar het tul. Zij Rangers kunnen noering geven. Chin we wie het jede. Rachel Rowe, Dolkowa. Niempie wo. Shen, I guess Shen served the appeal at the Rangers. Haley, Roomadish, Sidish Paul, Tarsing, Partido, Touch Unizamish at for Smach, I guess, after the Hal, Dish, Macaulay, Ewens, I guess Yemig, Ross and Skippelhoek, Njovig, at the stay of the Hulu. Flint de eerste kale, Ryan Tuliks, Noorsen en Likkal, McLaughlin, Geert Harswoeje, yet again. Don't think she can have any arguments there, Emma, and again, she had an earlier option just to move the ball, didn't, and then got caught in possession.
Yeah, I think we've seen that a couple of times, and that's the one thing that maybe Celtic are missing as well. I think we talked about that with Kit going off, just do they have the pace to get in behind, and maybe Natasha just felt like there wasn't that many options but to try and play forward, but got caught on the ball there.
Unaga and Natasha Flint, je gelijk gelijk na gelijk tolletje na gel close het gelior makanje wach bij Kiri Kusunje de Waulishin. Rachel Rowe ga Aliste Doherty die is wat bal door Ashkara. Yes. Nicholson Mr. Channel in Chief Minister Miguel been a manager and Smunyan het Arachi en hele jeno. Ross, Hayes, Klechkig, Liat na paadjes aan opgegaan, Chloe Craig, Ashworth Clifford, Gairi, nas looie, hij is je daarin, Gallagher, die is je bal tragen, die is trapse gaat de opgegaan, Jane Ross de pucht die wel cool. Yeah, the difference also with Ashworth Clifford on now, Emma, is that she's not really prepared to run at defenders the way Monglu was, and that ball in from deep is easier for defenders to deal with.
Yeah, I think so, and sometimes it's that, you know, attacking is the first line of defence, and if you've got a wing back that likes to go forward, then it pins the other wing back, and I think they're missing that slightly now in the game, and Rangers are maybe just having more of the possession and more opportunities further forward the pitch than Celtic do at the moment.
Shin share boy put I guess Shin Khoma boy me Gallagher guy Saturday Sheikh. Like you see Ashworth Clifford. Arachien Ella Dolheen. Jenny Smith is on Celtic. I guess Amy Gallagher at Chinyet. That may be a hint that maybe coach is maybe trying to shore things up, settle for a point, or is it way too early for that?
Yeah, maybe I think Jenny Smith will maybe she's quick again. We were talking about maybe that lack of pace and options up top now, but it's maybe just fresh legs again and maybe opportunities on the break that Celtic can get Jenny in behind the back line.
Hier toe gech de bal wat je dash. McLaughlin zijn oorsen cornet gastu de gedash go Jenna 5. Kan je zien een vlippe mag geshared boy pesje. Ashworth Clifford Gaka like Craig. Hill die is laat het geleerd. Son Murphy Agnew. I guess Rachel Rowe. Táis a chuid barachas barach bua I hoort de game mee in de paad getune dat gevallen Boshen. I guess Stu Vowell tarsing van een skipper Nicky Doherty with the Dugavilla. Coley and the reaction is voor partido I guess hij is fijn checkt door de Farnach Ro Arnott. Yes, kar met je bouwlijn is dan straaien en schön goed die taal aan zo schön te scoren te Natalie Ross skippel goed. Celtic at the check at the wheel. Kenimpi Duval. As we should Corum to Rangers Argeli and Judy McCleary. I shouldn't have to line it. I guess Brogan Hay. Now you thought she was going to go off a bit earlier, Emma. Now Brogan Hay is off and Judy McCleary is on.
Yeah, again, and I think for me, when Rangers make those changes, it's still the same style of play, and the player just fits into that position in almost a similar role, but just different personnel. So again, it'll just be a case of fresh legs on the pitch and maybe trying to get more opportunities going forward as well in terms of that 1v1. I think maybe noticing that if she gets it, Ashford Clifford has maybe got opportunities in behind.
I think a cool team squad. Jay Games at the Yano for Joe Potter and check him a Yunshin. Shach minutes and Achke Idaka Alison. To line a good game segler. Dus we horen dat Ashke en dan een parach in een game in de Viachke. Hill, Jerk het goed gestegen en weer voor de pick and room like Liv McLaughlin. Wat het hasje Jane Ross. Hayes. Shen. Kiri Murphy Agnew. Rhea Stewie show. Jenny Smith through us. Fashkara. Taich Gachin van Natasha Flint. Kuchuk. Agus Natalie Ross. En het partido, je fijn zoals gehoord dat de vaart is erbij. Er is met een Nuringi. Vaak al per naar de koeligach. Caitlin Hayes, hoe was dat? Well, she's known for getting big goals, big occasions, but that one was always rising.
Yeah, I was just about to say that was a Caitlin Hayes special in the last 5 minutes of a game, but yeah, that was really ambitious for the centre back from so far out in the pitch.
Ewens for Impey. Yes, nog taschje de vuile keer. Niet half is de nieuwsie. Ik ga gogen in het al. And as this game has gone on, Emma, Rachel Rowe has exercised more and more control, especially in that midfield area.
Yeah, and for me, it's not just that. I think off the ball, she works really, really hard and was. Especially when Rangers were pressing high up the pitch, she was the instigator a lot of the time, and in terms of that intensity that she presses at as well. So on the ball, I think she's great, but actually I think she works really hard off the ball as well.
Nu show je die is puchtige steg en de box de haast het al. Nageda, Emma Kelly Clark. Well, she almost did it on her own there. She just kept going, and it took a good challenge, a timely challenge from Kelly Clark to stop that one-paging run.
It's the speed that she runs at and still being able to keep the ball under control, and yeah, causing all sorts of problems in the back line there.
Nagu Kikini has to shoot like Rangers. There is like Rachel Rowe, Sisha Howe as a motion. On the first day, Flint fine ruttekin it. Nu na zatje falla bacha through the shin. Ag Rangers, fair the shit, Val the heilige stay. Boy Craig. Oh yes, well, gewoon nog het Val of a shin dash. Murphy Agnew. McLaughlin for picking the game, pick Clifford, I guess Ashworth Clifford's out of the tarring of Ashby Carfouye shot. Jody McCleary, Nisha Carfouye.
Yeah, for me it's just maybe taking one for the team there in terms of that break and pulling her back, because yeah, I think it could have resulted in a dangerous cross there, so Jodie just felt like she had no option there but just to give it a slight pull back.
Chadú Vili, Yeshin, give a shot as Coram, the Celtic, Caitlin Hayes, Kelly Clark, the Fuchstig Suez, Stigan of Oakse, and the Rangers are stoch get a shot. Union and Coram and Mageda give us Achke fine at Hoshach. Shen, Oscoon the Breed. Picking his 3 minutes in the Dakar, Hashindro Ash, the Jenna 5. Kappa Gorische, Vrepe Gemach. En dus gewoon achter voor die Poele gemacht. At this stage of the game, Emma, you want better delivery than that to give the likes of Hayes and Clark a chance to go and get what could be the winning goal.
Yeah, I think for both sides, that's one of the things I would say that hasn't been particularly great, has been the deliveries of any set plays, and putting the keepers in the back line under pressure hasn't been good enough, really.
Showing can Driplitch Kelsey Doherty. Couple of minutes left, Emma. Who's your player of the game? Must be a fairly difficult choice today.
Yeah, I think there's been various players. I think both teams have probably got players in their teams that could probably get that. I thought Natasha Flint played really well and obviously taken that chance, but I think she's kind of faded out the game. For me, Rachel Rose worked really, really hard. I think she's done the little things that maybe you don't notice all the time, but her work rate, her ability to create opportunities for others, and actually that composure to put Mia in on goal as well, and just showing her class in terms of that. So for me, it's Rachel Rowe today.
For your game of the East, Rachel Rowe. Caramilla shows on Celtic Paul Art, the hook al steach G trying to 5 through again. Five flische Vrepemach. Picking a minute to go now. Was je een tukje could be 10 minutes in te go varach kak in Qatar's Jewish. I guess Femi Doherty in the match Julie the job by fails a fail. Rosse could kaffa corre. Veel ungradele dakelse games. De gleesne pungen op vadag in Israel shot corre. Agnew het alles nee. Noring Yisha to line. Noring Jenna 5 up at Savalu. More vashin. When a Jaclea Rangers Murphy Agnew. Goskela Machie. Klech Jenna 5 for Cassan is on start to the Rachel Rowe. Ik kan mele vechen die Caramella. Groeike de Rangers, Fema Getaich. Jane Ross, the Telection Shinji. Nashko Cornet, I guess the Devasta Yisha. Liv McLaughlin, Smoonja Gue there, Boasterach, a Chile Gadash for Shen. I guess Shin Troya. Agus Amach. Well, we thought we might have the decisive moment here, Emma. Murphy Agnew through on goal. Great save from Jenna 5.
My initial thought was what a save, because here I thought I wasn't sure if she was going to come out, and then she decided to drop and stood tall and stood her ground, and yeah, I think she made a great save in there, and especially in that moment under that pressure as well.
Shock Caramella Higata. Celtic at the East was again a boxer. Agnew vechen de Genesu is the son. Karam Mashinlik Shachat, Hanuring Bow line is the Nurin to Shen or Slay and a Smuasa McLaughlin. Pidistru McCleary, Craig, just a big ground finish with the father in Quebec. Celtic Tolich le Pung as a show and ish get a Coram and Ma the Viaki game of Vinnick. McLaughlin agus corner to Ashton. Ewans, diach the Jane Ross go try it. Hayes agus Femi Sheen is the Chuck Coram. Game Glare. Agus Hayes, three swords is on a verach. Oh, Caitlin Hayes making up for her initial error. She must judge that ball going through. Jane Ross had the chance, but it's a great block from Caitlin Hayes.
It was a great initial ball as well, I think, and it was actually really difficult for Caitlin Hayes to know actually where it was going to bounce or land, but great recovery, you're right, from Caitlin Hayes, and the game's just absolutely came to life in the last 5.
Cornet Blaster, agus Mach Shechet. I guess this is the chance again, Emma. It's like you say, it's a difficult ball for a defender to deal with, but after that she does ever so well just to make herself big and block the shot.
Yeah, I just wondered as well if Jane Ross could have just taken that shot slightly earlier and not that extra touch, but yeah, all credit to Caitlin. She threw her body on the line there and made sure it didn't go in the back of the net.
Partido yeah, Celia Barclay Edison. Bickanis, well, da vinnas de Gunya Varach Ganisha. Flint, agus Hanuringi, Shianain in the val. McCleary, Paul Ishal, Achanjala. Nog het terugse Piet Kregen geeft op het groeien in de jekka in de vallen. Skippen is Chicoyet. Nachgo Gumalstoche, agus Rangers, the Scolletje, goed te kunnen gelezen game, maar je wilt tune dat geel aan, dan kan heel in de paard, Jenny Smith, die is stout te leven al, Doherty kan gutschwoepen, dan gaat coole Jane Ross, kom in stuien, en gaan Nuringi, wel, dat kan dat Kelly Clark geweest, eerlijk, dit is ook, kan hem te Sarah Ewans, agus, hier is, als een oorschijn, vallig een keer een shotstoche, Coram Magedig Union, Coram and Magedig sa Rachel Rowe, with the hinna now. Gematrich, Cashin and Celtic, and can a pinic, Gamikin as Nasuyakin show us, and a Gamikin Derby, I have Rangers at all, you know, a late jailer, Marirainat, on the Cookpa League, Chimichal Miasadash, Marigleat, Snit Chicken Vagedig, Shen, Fala Vigachas the Pete. Fiket Chuk nummer 1 agus Barclay hier toe is toch een soe wie zeg je van ik van een pingie ga kutrimach ha kunnen voegen soe is gaan leek Rangers weet je de soe laat je nooit maar ha pikken een stick chicken in dat geld Chloe Craig en oors een streek beskuun McCleary maar kolach de pingie nodig is dan niet jak bial reetje dat aga schöne Derby Kuibrug ze kregen gekomen Celtic het al het hastig letul voor Natasha Flint zag die ene Sadiku is toch getolletje in Kuibrug ze door spring voor skippen Joe Potter agus as in a fine das koenen ze daar agus de quiet nas launch de geboringai gal the third game glee as Stuart de Mia McCauley het heel line nog gedaas in das koenen Fachkel Cocker at the Gish McCauley agus Caitlin Hayes die val agus Jonathan Natasha Flint va Kutrimachas in Celtic cos Celtic het hoshach ag toshach we daar na lees va groen Coram in Oorsen ag Celtic smach gegale de game na roat a shinne we got in a 3 punten hokal a ga ver in de voedig a keet punten et er da skippen voor a Glasgow a gewollig agus gesporsal plukken dan a kud mel en erke de gele game waarop ik een zaag zich hier het leeg aan een kapel zodat het leek geleid Cavendish in de wijk Rangers Riot Mr. Healy het Ash Celtic Carrigan Askar Skippen Selena Sadiku dat is we aan Kelsey Doherty Kutrimach Cam Sabel en Kutrimach bij Sadiku Vaderking gewele Skippen dat is hier wanneer ik hier het game ik naar de geilet in de Cookpa League goed delen Rachel Rowe, Kutrimach, Shishach de bal, Tarsing, Camille McCauley. En je Kelly Clark, skipper de Celtic, could Melon Erk. Wel, een schuldig en gaan heel nog tegen Celtic. Ik ga een schuldig en achke in de duisie en een vaart verder wil Shinje. Ricardas agus Celtic Ibrox Gríochnacha Cuanan Maha. Rangers a Hoon, Celtic a Hoon.
Wel, aber game hadde vi aking in Celtic Park Ibrox. Daskip a dolga hier like ieder een foin gagas. Geen piak in draste Bornjolige Emma Hunter draste Emma. What a match, what a second half you have to say. Both sides getting a goal, both sides going home with a point. What are your overall thoughts in the 90 minutes?
Yeah, I thought the first half in particular was okay, not a lot of chances, but I think it came to life the second half. I think the early goal really helped in terms of like livening the game up a little bit. So yeah, for me, I think the second half was a lot better, but 1-1 was probably a fair result overall in terms of the opportunities and chances for both teams.
Yeah, we can have a look at the Natasha Flint goal, which came 35 seconds into the second half, and a flying start from Celtic, and definitely not what we expected at the start of the half.
No, I actually was just trying to run back up to my seat at this point, but yeah, a great start from Celtic, and it was pretty simple football really, a ball down the line and then Rangers not being able to deal with it. And as soon as Celtic got into that half, you could just see the runner coming into the box there and no Ranger player picking her up, and a great finish in the end. But she'd really never get that time and space in the box to finish that easily.
But that was a theme in the second half, wasn't it? That ball over the top, Lefersky using her pace as we know she has, and then players overloading in the box.
Yeah, and I think because the goal came so early, Rangers then had to put on a bit of an ascendancy to go and try and get the goal, and I think that's always the risk as well, is that you'll be open at the back, and you've seen that a lot in terms of chances for Celtic on the counter-attack happening, but again, Rangers just showing that ability to get back into the game and create more opportunities, and then it became quite end-to-end near the end of the game there.
Well, you mentioned Rangers getting back into the game. They did equalise. It was through Mia McCauley, her first touch just off the bench, a double substitution by Joe Potter, and overall actually just a great goal.
Yeah, for me as well. I think it was really good to see the wing backs coming narrow into the pitch and then creating opportunities as well, and a great finish in a difficult situation to try and get Rangers back into the game.
Well, we're delighted now to be joined by Elena Sadiku, Celtic manager. Elena, I'm sure you don't want to watch that goal too many times back, but overall, your thoughts on the 90 minutes?
Obviously, my feelings right now is that we should have won. I think the second half we create a lot of chances that we should have scored on. That goal that I just saw comes from a situation that we should control. And I feel like that's one of the strongest chances they have second half. Of course, like in the end when Jane Ross gets that chance, but we had a clear chance before. Yeah. But we have more chances than them today, and I think that we should have won.
What was your message at half-time to your players? Because we just saw your goal there, 35 seconds into the half. You must have been so happy with how your players started the second half.
I'm very proud. Obviously, we had some tactical talk, but also about how important this 10 first minutes in the second half is going to be, and that we just need to put that big effort in to just start the second half the best way possible, which we did.
You nearly won the game, though. We can have a look back. You mentioned it there, Murphy Agnew threw on goal. Did you think she was going to put it away?
Yep.
But it was a theme in the half, wasn't it? In that second half, the ball over the top, and you were getting plenty of chances that way.
Yeah, we know the strengths of our players, and we try to make it as much as possible, playing it through the strengths. I think it's not only about played it over. We had other good situations that we did well, but obviously I think that we had many good chances today to score on.
Well, thank you for speaking to us, and your team did well today, a point.
Thank
you. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, Elena. And I think we're now going to hear from Rachel Rowe, hopefully, Emma. She'll be coming in behind us. But overall, you have to say, from a Celtic point of view, a well-earned point, and they'll probably be happy with that.
Yeah, I think so. I think also they might say they might be disappointed with the point in terms of saying that they created a lot of chances, but maybe a point before the game they might have taken it as well. But yeah, for me it was probably a fair result.
Rachel, you're making a habit of this. Thank you for speaking to us once again here on BBC Alpha. A point. You're smiling at the moment. I don't know how you felt that game went. What are your overall thoughts?
Yes, smiling. Yeah, I'm not sure what to say about it. I think we started the game really strongly, and then we started the second half really poorly, and we didn't take chances that came, and I think we were dominant throughout the game, if you split it, I think we were dominant for 60-70% of the game. And yeah, but happy to come back into it. And I think it shows the type of players that we have to be able to grab one back. Obviously, you can crumble at the start of the second half when they score, but yeah, we got one back, and I think we definitely progressed then towards the end of the game to not pick up another one. But obviously a really good save our end with Jenna, so you can look at it, you know, draw's probably fair.
Yes, well, we can actually have a look at that chance. Jane Ross right at the end. I don't know, do you want to watch this back too much?
I looked at it when it was happening.
But yeah, just, you probably thought she was going to go through. A player of Jane Ross's quality probably going to put this away, but
I think she thought she was too wide. You know, like she would have put that away any day. But again, the defenders got around it, the goalkeeper made a good save, and yeah, she's going to be kicking herself for that. But we had other opportunities where we could have scored as well.
Overall, when you reflect on this, I know it's pretty raw just now, but a point, another 2 points dropped, a point gained. I don't know how you're going to be looking at it, but happy enough with the result?
Yeah, I think when you look at it all round, again, you can be critical, and we had chances. But again, Jenna made a really good save where we could have lost a point.
Yes.
So I think we salvaged what we could out of the game, and still unbeaten, you know, and you can't forget that. I think people think, you know, drop points here and there, but we are still unbeaten, and there's still that confidence within the group, and I think we had a good performance apart from moments today.
And still top of the table as well, so yeah, not too bad overall. But thank you so much, Rachel, for joining us once again. We might meet again before the end of the season, but thank you so much, Rachel.
Always
we can let you go. Thank you very much. Yeah, we can have a look now at the league table, Emma, and I don't know what you think, but maybe the winners of the day are Glasgow City. They're currently beating Motherwell away from home at the moment. We'll see what happens in that game. But Glasgow City all of a sudden back in the title race, or were they ever out of it?
Yeah, and it's probably no surprise really. I think Glasgow City are always probably going to be up there, and they have a habit of coming back in as the season goes and progresses, and you can see that they're getting confidence and momentum as well. So I'm sure Glasgow City would have hoped for this scoreline, and it just makes the title race that more exciting as well. And as a Scottish women's football fan, that's what we want. So for me, it's probably great for the league as well. So yeah, Glasgow City will be ready to pounce on that next fixture that they get to try and get even closer.
Do you want to put your neck on the line just briefly, Emma, before we head off air today? Who do you think might be lifting the title come May?
I think for me, I think Rangers will just maintain that sort of level of consistency, and I think they've got the momentum in terms of the points and that little bit of gap, and that's just enough for me. So I'm going for Rangers, I think, at the moment. Well,
we'll see what happens. Plenty of games to go, and one game to go until the split. But Taff Felicia, son of Collading and Jute and Shaw, 8th BBC Alpa, Martian Live and Drasta.